I never thought capturing wild predators would prepare me for the ultimate betrayal. When my wife brought another man to our bed and said, "I'm opening our marriage. If you have a problem, leave," I packed up and vanished into the wilderness. 3 days later, I got the call. She was gone. Now, I was forced to confront a savage truth. Sometimes the most dangerous predators aren't the ones I photograph. My name is Mitchell Coleman. Though most people call me Mitch, I'm 47, and I own a wildlife photography gallery in Portland, Oregon that's become something of a local landmark. My work has taken me to 6 continents and earned features in National Geographic and Wildlife Photographer of the Year, but no shot I've ever taken could compare to the moment I realized my life had been a carefully constructed lie. I met Valerie Harrison at a charity auction where one of my photographs was being sold to benefit wildlife conservation. She was elegant, intelligent, and genuinely interested in my work. Within a year, we were married, and I thought I'd found my perfect partner, someone who understood my need to disappear into the wilderness for weeks at a time, who appreciated my art, who made our house feel like a home. When my stepdaughter Alyssa was 10, her biological father walked out, leaving Valerie to raise her alone. After we married, I adopted Alyssa legally and emotionally. She became my daughter in every way that mattered. When she was 16, a rock climbing accident left her paralyzed from the waist down. The doctors said she'd never walk again. They underestimated her. Now 24, Alyssa is a Paralympic champion in wheelchair racing. She inherited my stubbornness and her mother's striking look style. It's athletic, with auburn hair that catches fire in the sunlight. I couldn't be prouder. Last spring, I returned early from a 3-week shoot in Alaska's Denali National Park. The assignment had gone better than expected. I'd captured a rare interaction between a wolf pack and a grizzly. Exhausted but excited, I walked through our front door at 2 in the morning, instead of the following afternoon as planned. The house was quiet, but a strange car sat in the driveway. I assumed it was a friend of Valerie's who'd stayed late. I set my equipment down, grabbed a cold beer, and headed to my office to back up my memory cards. As I passed our bedroom door, I heard Valerie's laughter, a sound I hadn't heard in months. My hand froze on the doorknob. There was an intimacy to that laughter that made my stomach tighten. A man's voice murmured beside her. I stood there, camera bag still slung over my shoulder, as 20 years of trust began to unravel. 20 years of marriage had earned me the right to walk through my own bedroom door without knocking. I turned the handle. What I saw burned itself into my memory more permanently than any photograph. Valerie sat up in our bed, a champagne glass in hand, with a man I'd never seen before. He was younger, maybe late 30s. It's the kind of man who spent more on his haircut than I did on camera lenses. "You weren't supposed to be home until tomorrow," Valerie said. Cycling through shock, embarrassment, then irritation, I replied, clear and steady, despite the earthquake inside me. Clearly, I looked at the stranger. "And you are?" The man smiled, extended his hand like this was a business meeting. "Curtis Blackwell." "Financial advisor," he said casually, as if being caught in my bed was merely an inconvenience. I ignored his hand. "Get out of my house." "Mitch, don't be dramatic," Valerie sighed, setting down her champagne. "Curtis isn't just leaving. We need to talk." "This is not the time for a talk," I said, gripping the door frame to steady myself. "Actually, it is," she insisted, straightening her silk robe. "I've been wanting to discuss this for months. You're never home. Always off chasing bears and wolves?" "Discuss what, exactly?" My voice surprised even me with its calm. Valerie reached for Curtis's hand. "I'm opening our marriage, Mitch. Curtis and I have been seeing each other for almost a year, and I'm done hiding it. If you have a problem, you know where the exit is." The audacity left me speechless. This wasn't a momentary lapse. This was a calculated decision made without me. Curtis chimed in, pitching like it was an investment. "Traditional monogamy is outdated. Many modern couples explore new paradigms." His tone was clinical. I repeated each word like ice. "Get out." Then Alyssa's voice came from down the hall. "Dad, what's going on?" She had wheeled herself to the doorway, awakened by our voices. Valerie's face went pale. "Alyssa, Go back to your room. This doesn't concern you. It's like hell it doesn't, Alyssa shot back. This concerns this entire family. Curtis reached for his pants. I stepped toward him, hands clenched. You have 30 seconds to get dressed and out of my house before I throw you out the window. Something in my expression convinced him I wasn't bluffing. He grabbed his things and left in a hurry, tires screeching as he peeled out of the driveway. I couldn't bring myself to look at Valerie. 20 years of memories were turning to ash. We need to talk like adults, she said, voice tight. This doesn't have to be the end. It already is, I replied. I went to the closet, pulled out my expedition duffel bag, and began to pack. Valerie asked what I was doing. I answered methodically what you suggested. I'm leaving. Alyssa wheeled beside me. I'm coming with you, Dad. No, honey. You have training tomorrow, I said. She insisted she'd join the weekend. I nodded, then told Valerie, I'll be back when Curtis is gone to get the rest of my things. She tried once more, but the fight left her voice. By 3 in the morning, I was driving east toward Mount Hood. The city lights fading as the forest embraced me. In the wild, betrayal had purpose, survival. This felt like destruction for its own sake. The cabin welcomed me like an old friend, rustic, remote. Sitting on 10 forested acres with views of Mount Hood that could steal your breath. I'd bought it years earlier as a base for shoots. Now, it was my sanctuary. For the next 2 days, I existed in suspended animation. I chopped wood until my arms ached. I hiked until my legs gave out. I drank coffee on the porch, watching eagles soar above the pines. At night, I nursed whiskey and stared into the fire, trying to make sense of how 20 years could unravel in 20 minutes. On the 3rd morning, Alyssa's adapted van pulled up. She wheeled down the ramp and handed me a paper bag with coffee and blueberry scones. You look terrible, she said. We sat in silence, watching the morning mist lift. Mom's freaking out, she offered. Let her worry, I replied. Alyssa looked at me. That's not why I'm here. I don't care about her panic. I care about you. Her directness hit me like a physical force. Dad, there's something you need to see. She showed me her phone. The headline read, Renowned Wildlife Photographer's Wife Critical After Suspected Suicide Attempt. The article said Valerie had been found unconscious after ingesting alcohol and prescription drugs. A close friend had found her and called 911. She was in intensive care at Portland Memorial. Condition critical. My hands trembled. Is this real? I asked. Alyssa nodded. She'd gotten the call from the hospital. There's more, she said. The friend who found her was Curtis. He's giving interviews, making himself look like the devastated boyfriend, and you the cruel husband who abandoned her. Cold fury replaced shock. Alyssa interrupted. I know him. It's disgusting. But right now, we need to deal with Valerie. She's still your wife. We have to go. The drive back to Portland was a blur. Reporters crowded the hospital lot. A local reporter rushed me for a statement. Alyssa positioned her wheelchair between me and the camera. My father just learned about this tragedy and rushed back to be by his wife's side. The family requests privacy, she said. The reporter stepped back. Inside the ICU, Curtis sat surrounded by Valerie's friends, holding court. When he saw us, his expression shifted. You have a lot of nerve showing up here, he said. I walked past him to the nurse's station. I'm Mitchell Coleman. My wife, Valerie Coleman, was admitted last night. The nurse hesitated. Family only. Alyssa stepped forward. My father is Valerie Coleman's legal husband of 20 years. That other man has known her less than a year. We can provide documentation. They let us through. Valerie looked small against the white sheets, tubes and wires connecting her to machines. Her auburn hair was dull and tangled. I took her hand. It was cold. I'm here, Val, I said. Her eyelids fluttered but didn't open. Dr. Myers explained they were concerned about potential liver damage from the combination of substances. Was this a genuine suicide attempt? I asked quietly. In my opinion, it looks more like a cry for help than a determined effort to end her life, the doctor said. The timing suggests she expected to be found. Detective Santos arrived to ask questions. Curtis had told a different version to the police. He'd said I suggested counseling and walked out. Interesting, the detective said. Alyssa stepped in. I was there that night. I witnessed everything. Curtis is lying. For the next 24 hours, I barely left Valerie's bedside. Curtis attempted to visit, but security denied him entry once the family situation was clear. On the second morning, Valerie opened her eyes. Mitch, she whispered. I'm here, I said. She looked at me, confused. Why are you here after what I did? She asked. You're still my wife, I replied. Tears filled her eyes. I never meant for this to happen, she told us. Curtis brought wine to help me relax and gave her something for anxiety. Next thing I remember is waking up here, she said. My stomach dropped. You're saying he drugged you? I asked. I don't know, she whispered. The detective took a statement as Valerie described Curtis's increasing agitation and his focus on financial matters. We've been investigating Mr. Blackwell since your admission, Santos said. His financial history shows a pattern of targeting wealthy women. 2 other women experienced mysterious health episodes. Valerie's voice trembled. He tried to kill me. Santos arranged tests. The lab confirmed unusual levels of sedatives in her blood, far more than a single anxiety pill. Security camera footage showed Curtis adding something to her wine. They prepared an arrest warrant. My anger redirected toward Curtis. The damage to our marriage remained. Curtis's financial records suggested he was preparing paperwork to have Valerie declared temporarily incompetent, giving him access to her assets and potentially mine. The calculated cruelty was staggering. That evening, Sarah at the gallery called. Someone had tried to access the gallery accounts and initiate a wire transfer for almost $200,000. The bank flagged it because it required dual authentication. Curtis was the likely suspect. I called Detective Santos. Alyssa showed me Curtis's social media. He'd posted a photo casting me as the villain. The narrative he tried to sell backfired once the evidence came to light. The same outlets that initially painted me as the coward now celebrated me as the loyal husband who stood by his wife. Valerie improved steadily over the next week. The doctors confirmed no permanent physical damage, though the psychological scars would take longer to heal. She gave a full statement to Detective Santos and agreed to testify. Curtis had targeted at least 5 women with the same playbook. He now faced multiple felony charges. In the weeks that followed, Valerie and I had difficult conversations. She admitted she'd resented my absences. Curtis exploited that vulnerability. I acknowledged my failures. Alyssa became our bridge, moving between the hospital and the cabin, steady and unflinching. Her strength amazed me. 3 months after Curtis's arrest, life found a new rhythm. The gallery thrived under Sarah's management, while I returned to fieldwork. I spent 6 weeks in Yellowstone capturing the spring awakening of the wilderness work critics called my most intimate yet. Valerie and I faced reality. The foundation of our marriage had been damaged beyond simple repair. We filed for divorce. The proceedings were remarkably amicable, all things considered. She moved to Seattle to start an interior design business. Thank you for not hating me, she said the day she left. Hatred takes too much energy, I replied. I'd rather focus it elsewhere. Elsewhere became a foundation Alyssa and I established, photography workshops for disabled children. Watching her teach young people to see the world through a camera brought me more satisfaction than any gallery opening. You're different now, Alyssa observed as we reviewed student photos. More present? She was right. Nearly losing everything clarified what truly mattered. Success meant nothing without someone to share it with. I had neglected that truth for too long. Curtis Blackwell pleaded guilty to multiple felonies and accepted a 20-year sentence. His victims received some financial restitution, though the emotional damage was harder to repair. I sold our house and donated half the proceeds to organizations supporting victims of financial abuse. The Mount Hood cabin became my permanent home. Its simple authenticity matched my new outlook. On the anniversary of that fateful night, I sat on the porch watching the sun set behind Mount Hood. Alyssa joined me with 2 steaming mugs of coffee. Do you regret how things turned out? She asked. I considered it carefully. I regret the pain, I said, especially yours, but not the outcome. She nodded. Mom called yesterday. She wants to contribute to the foundation. Will you accept? She asked. I think so, Alyssa replied. Some things are worth salvaging. As darkness settled over the mountains, I realized that while my marriage couldn't be saved, something more valuable had emerged. Authenticity, purpose, and an unbreakable bond with the daughter who became my compass through the darkest days. Sometimes you have to lose your focus to find what truly deserves to be in frame.